TMI. Yo. Alright, ladies, let's see what's cooking here. We are streaming. That's the first intel we have, which is encouraging. That's somewhat of a good news.
My dad.
Oh, don't talk, please. All right. So far, so good. We be burning, not concerning what nobody gonna say. Okay, let's see what we're up to today. What we are going to do is that we're going to look at some epic games. Who is in the house? Hands up if you're in the house. Scrumptious! You need to de-rust your chess. Oh, come on. Surely it's as unrusty as it can get. Mr. Topaganten, howdy. Good to have you on boardinho. Oh, what's good in life, folks? I'm looking for some material while we're waiting for the crew to arrive. Whoa, hello. Whoa, what? Welcome in, Mr. Puticini. Hello, hello. I haven't even done anything and we are already getting some love. Coaches used to teach for 12 to 15 handle. Yeah, this is a very oldie but goodie that I like to speak a lot about. This is a good book. Maybe a little bit heavy for 1200s, but by 1500s, I quite like it. Veeramantri's Best Lessons of a Chess Coach. KRS, My Road to the Top. I quite like that one. I used it when I was a kid with my coach. That was pretty neat too. Shout out to Puticini, by the way. Bloody hell, what a man. What a man, what a legend this guy is. Alright. I am still looking for some material, guys. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone, indeed. Okay, this is a good start. I like this. This is goody. This is goody. Okay, are we ready for some casual fun? Casual fun in Guess the Move style. Let's have a look-see at a really, really cool game. Today on the menu is Hungarian international master Béla Lengyel. He was a very entertaining fella. And he also played a very enterprising style of chess. He was actually known in Hungary, well, for multiple reasons. He was a really funny dude, but he was obsessed with Alekhine to the degree where he played Alekhine's repertoire with black and white throughout his entire life, with slight adjustments here and there. But essentially, he played Alekhine's repertoire and tried to copy his style too, and quite often he pulled off some incredible attacks. This is gonna be a good example. Yeah, bishop f4 was poo here. That's a bad move. Well, I wouldn't call it a bad move, but it was asking for e5. I also dislike the trade for very well-known reasons, but we'll let that one slide too. Okay, let's get started. Why to move? How do we build the attack? F4 is hanging, my friend. That's too many dudes are covering that. Unless you're seeing something that I do not. This seems to me to be not feasible. Beanstopokanten, you are, sir, correct. Queen f3. Introducing a new attacker to the party. And now knight f4 is not really good because g3 is going to cause severe problems. Knight e6 is forced, and now this pawn structure is just absolutely horrid. White is pretty much winning. So they decided to drop the knight back. All good, sir. All good, all good. And now white played a very sneaky move that was a preparation for an upcoming tactic in a way, which black either was unaware of or decided to allow for whatever reason. Either way, they shouldn't have done that. So now it looks like our attack has come to an untimely halt, but we can actually breathe some fresh life into this. The question is the how. Please ignore, by the way, the YouTube title. It's wrong. Can someone on YouTube confirm me that I am now streaming at the same time vertical and horizontal? That would be very nice if we could get a confirmation on that. Swing the rook to the open file. Look, rook d1 is an okay move. but it doesn't create any additional threats or problems for black. It's definitely one of the best moves on the board, but it doesn't have that tactical oomph to it that white's move did. Actually, I'm going to flip the coin here. I am going to show you the move, and you guys will tell me what this does. So the played move in the game was queen back to e2. What is going on here? Yeah, there is after rook d1 h6, you are forced to take on f7. Sanchez, hello, hello. Good to have you in, buddy. No, the plan is not f4. f4 is another move that people love to play in these types of positions. I have a YouTube video on this, by the way. It almost always is bad. Because after I will just play a lemon. Oh, thank you, Seb. After take knight e5, generally speaking, the blockade stands and holds very, very firmly. No, after queen e2, white is cooking something altogether different. Exactly. So the point is that we are rewiring and redirecting the queen towards c4 to hurt black on f7. So against multiple moves by black, we would be looking to take f7. And another big issue for black here is that if they play knight b6, when you pull the bishop back, now you are threatening bishop c5. As well as a5, by the way. Sending the knight back right away. So let's see how the game went, and you will see what the point is. They played h6, and this is essentially a losing move because of knight f7. But it's not like a forced mate. All we get is a very strong initiative, and Beans Toboganten is going to be proven correct about his f4 idea, by the way. Take. Take, take, and check. It's funny because at first sight in this position it appears that we don't have enough attackers. However, the problem is that the black pieces are so awkwardly placed that they will not be able to summon a meaningful defensive formation or defensive plans, in fact. Knight e5 now can be captured by the knight, so that's not strong enough. Dino Nagi Muncher. Interesting. Welcome in, Brad. But, yeah, no need for knight e5 to rush it. The whole point is that black here is struggling to find the next move. And this is something that I've been talking a lot lately on YouTube, and people tend to not utilize the power of this concept enough, which is to ask yourself, what is my opponent's next move? And you realize that they are hard stuck, because what they want to do is to develop the bishop. In order to develop the bishop, you must move the knight. As soon as you move the knight, bishop c5 is going to knock you out. Therefore, you can just casually develop your pieces, play all the pretty moves we can, build up, and take it from there. So we played rook. We should have played rook a d1, but we played knight b5. This is actually a mistake. Whoa! Tekari!
3 years, chicas.
Tekari. So yeah, rook a d1 is best here. Because no matter what black does, everything that we wanted to do, whether it be knight b5 or f4, will be made stronger by rook d1, and black doesn't have an adequate move. To back my thesis on that, the engine's favorite move for black here is knight e8, followed by queen b8. Both of those moves are utterly depressing. Hello, Mr. Harrington. Welcome in. So yeah, knight b5 was played. This is less accurate. I wouldn't call this scrumptious long-term strategy. It's actually short-term. It's just you optimizing your army by one more move. That's not long-term. All it is just based on the recognition that we didn't yet need
Happy
to
New
strike.
Year, Coach.
Oh, Sweet Blues! Welcome in. Thanks, buddy. Welcome, welcome. Derpy, thanks for the follow, buddy. Alright, so we played knight b5, not the best. But let's roll. Queen d8, yeah, b8 rather. Now we need to continue this kind of semi-attack. By giving a check. Check. And yeah, this is something that I didn't quite like about the way White treated it, because now the king is somewhat safe. But on the flip side of things, and I still really like the way how Lengyel is playing this, Black is still hard stuck. So again, utilizing that concept, he just played Rook a d1 now. Now the only move that would bother me here with White, that Black can do, that I find a little bit annoying to face, is knight f8. And here I'm not 100% convinced that we have a knockout win. The engine's preferred line here is a5, another move that is a testament to how stuck Black is. Knight e6 takes Queen c4. And we are basically looking to play Rook d6 against every next move and double the rooks on the d. It still looks more pleasant for White, but I would not call it a winning position for sure. However, this didn't happen because after Rook d1, Black played a5. Check. And now, a particular move that we have discussed before is very, very strong. I would like to ask one more time, guys, from the YouTube viewers. Do you guys have an option of seeing currently the stream, both vertical and horizontal? Like, can you pick between the layouts, or do you see both? Because that has become an option, and I clicked it to see if I could test it out, but I don't know if it works. Queen f7. I suppose it's an attractive move. But it wasn't the one. Massive gift. Here is a hint for you, buddy. When you are struggling to find a good move, what you want to do, typically, is a very good go-to advice, is that you look at your army and you go like, which is my piece that contributes the least to the greater good? And you immediately hit upon the rook on f1. And there are literally two moves that can activate the rook. Rook e1 or f4. Rook e1 does bugger all. And so by rule of elimination, you come to the correct move within less than 30 seconds. That's how easy chess can be if you are willing to deploy some, you know, deep thinking. That's it. F4. Yeah, but see, my point is that if you go through how I arrived at f4 by just looking at all your pieces and seeing who is not working, it's so super easy to find. Yeah, doubling is still decent. But f4 definitely puts a lot more pressure on black, because now again, what f4 does, apart from introducing the rook into the action, is that it limits black's choices. When we play rook d3, black has got a really large range of moves they can pick from. After f4, we eliminated the knight moves from the list, which is very important because knight f8 followed by bishop e6 or knight e6 was black's main idea. So now a lot of pieces cannot move. Hello Brazy, hello Galdur, welcome in ladies, how are we? Thank you Red Panda. Okay, so no one is answering me on YouTube about the layout, but I will see. I will figure it out. EF played, Bishop F played. Unfortunately, you will have to rewatch the stream to figure that out, Galdur. And Knight C5 played. And this is where black is now in dire straits. Where do we go with the queen? Oh, I see, Sweet Boost. Thank you. I don't. What do you mean, Brazy, you don't? Queen G3 looks very good. I believe the chat on YouTube is broken. I believe you are wrong because you just chatted on YouTube and I just read it. Queen E3 is the other one. Queen E3 was played, but essentially all queen moves good. Actually, Queen G3 is really bad, isn't it? Because of Knight H5. That's almost a losing move. So, no, it's Queen E3 all day, every day. Sorry. No, Queen G3 is a blunder. No. Yeah, sorry, Brazy. That's what you meant. I was going to tell you that that was not a trap question. You need to move the queen. 100%. And now we have got all kinds of knight jumps to trap the queen, in particular knight b5. So they drop back to block on e5. Cook! Whoa! Look at you go, buddy. Long time no see. And now black again is back in the hard stuck phase. Now in the game we play d5, and I don't know if this is best. The machine just wants to play the extremely cruel bishop h2. And just go like, make a move if you can. Knight f7 would lead to queen a7. That's an unwanted queen trade. Don't do that. The big difference with bishop h2 is that now queen a7 loses a piece because you can take, and take. e5 was played, but now we need to find a subsequent tactic here in order to justify e5. Sag the rook! Sag the rook, says the man. Hello, Hex. Yeah, we sacked the rook. And now we have got two beautiful moves. One was played, the other one wasn't. Which is quite logical because you are not allowed to play two moves in chess in one turn. E6 was played indeed. What is the other beautiful move here which is no less powerful? Hey, Eigen. Yes, of course. Always, buddy. Always. Always down for game anal, for some subbies, for sure. Yes, Galdor, you are a legend. Bishop takes h6. Beautiful move. Beautiful move. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Eigen, can you send me please a PGN? Thank you. Cook, what do you mean you don't see how it's beautiful? Like, what is not clear, buddy? Like, there's nothing left to say. Takes, check, and it's made. Hello? They go back, Queen G5, and Carnage City. Okay, this is a hard one to find. I'm not going to downplay that. So now we're threatening knight f5. Okay, Eigen, can we do that one more time? Because you typed in all that crap that I don't need. All I need is the moves. Yeah, you're struggling, buddy. What you sent me in the private message is still what I do not need. Just copy out the moves. I don't need that massive load of information about who, when, why. Yeah, Queen G5 is actually easy to miss. Sorry, I didn't mean to dismiss your proposition. So for the record, the idea is that we have knight f5 here. Beautiful finish. We played e6. Knight c5 and knight b5 trapped the black queen. Beautiful stuff. Black tried to get cute, played d4, but after queen e1, the queen was a goner, and they resigned. Okay, let's see if our good friend Eigen can send me the game. Or if I have to run a quick lesson on stream about how... Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, you did it, friend. Alright, what color are we? That's the only info that I want to know. Oh, sorry, the machine didn't like your... Yeah, big message. Sorry about that. What color are we, bro? Oh, we're white. Okay. Alright, let's dig in. Can you give us some context with regards to rating and time control? Like I said, I didn't need any of that info and now I'm asking for it. The irony is not lost on me. Classical 16 versus 17. Okay, let's dive in. D4, C5, D5, F5. Okay, we are winning. No worries. The game is already officially over. Okay, so one of the best things you can do against this garbage is to turn it into a very aggressive gambit with E4. And after take knight f6. You can play here f3, but you don't have to. Knight e2 is very good. Knight h3 is also known to be very good. Usually after f3 they turn the pawn back. They turn the pawn back and they start playing a position from here, which is also still very, very good for you. X/, if I said yes to that, for all the people who did the 5. So I have to stick to my guns, buddy. Otherwise I would be unfair to everyone else other than you. It's not about the money or me being greedy. It's merely just an even field for everyone. Yeah, knight h3 is probably best. With knight both coming in both directions. If d6, there is a positional trap here. And this is actually very important to remember. Who can guess the correct move for white here? This is very important. Knight f4 is not best. It's second best. There is a better move here. No, it's definitely not bishop c4. Bishop c4 doesn't contribute here to anything you can do. Beans is correct. It's bishop b5 check. So what you want to do is to trade the bishop or force a move that obstructs the bishop's view to e6 so that we can now jump in and the game is over. Likewise, after bishop d7, you can either take and then go in, but you actually don't have to take it. You can go in right away. Because they can't check your knight down here because of knight back, and then you can go in. And again, white is winning. Code mode! How are you going, Brad? Good to have you. So, if they don't play d6, but they play g6, which is very, very, very natural, can I ask you a favor? It depends. If it doesn't need me going full nude, I should be in for it, yes. What do you mean tag everyone in Discord and say going live? Actually, yeah, I will do something about that. Yeah, you are right, by the way. So yeah, d6 is a crazy good idea here. How do you tag everyone? Okay, you will need to give me a 10-minute crash course on Discord. D6. And when they take, bishop c4. This is absolutely insane, guys. 2-pawn sack. And now... but where do I post it? On my own channel? Like on the ChessCoachAndras channel or what? Fuck it, I will do it. Main chess talk. You mean on my channel? I'm sorry, again, I'm getting distracted. You mean on my channel, right? Okay, done. Done. Okay, docs. So this was a very, very cool idea, which I just figured it out myself too as we went. So this is something that I'm going to add to my trickery. let's move on. So our good friend Eigen went knight f3. I will approve of this, but I would like to add to it that based on what setup you went for, Eigen, your knight would want to be here, not here. And the reason for this is because just watch me playing the same setup as you do, yeah? So I go knight c3. It's debatable whether we need c4 or not, by the way. Black is going to play d6, right? So I go here, d6, castles, castles. And now I go knight f4. That is a very sexy square to jump onto. From f3, your only hope to activate is via g5, and that's easy to cancel out. Yeah, well, that's the problem, right? That you had to do in a big circle. Yeah, and this is somewhat annoying because now after knight c7, the knight will cover e6 and support b5. So you're going to run out of plans. So now we need to play for e4 as soon as possible. Rook e1 correct. And e4 it is, baby. No. So this is something that I always highlight in club level chess. And for the life of me, I don't understand this kind of decision making. So when you played Rook e1, what was the plan? Because if I am sitting behind the black pieces and my opponent goes Rook e1, I am thinking to myself, this mofo is playing e4 next. I'm betting my house on it. Because why else, right? So when I play castles, I write on the score sheet castles, and I don't even put my pen down because I'm anticipating already e4 coming at me. Like I'm literally holding my pen as I am waiting for the move to come at me, because if it's not e4, I'm like, hello, welcome to Logic City. And then you play knight g5, I would literally drop the pen out of my hand from utter shock. Like, I would look at you and go like, bro, what are you doing? How do these two moves explain themselves to each other? Like, you say it can wait, but why would you wait? Why? Like, why would you wait? Sydney Sweeney says, I'm free tonight. And you go like, yeah, but what about the 10th of October? It's like, hello? She said tonight. Let's go. Let's go. I don't know what you're referring to, Jazz, but yes, thank you. Yeah, that shouldn't have waited, man. So if you commit to a move like Rook e4 with the idea of e4, it's e4, man. Otherwise, you make yourself look like a dude who just doesn't know what they want in life. Like, we are playing now totally disconnected, disjointed moves. Not to mention the fact, by the way, that even if the idea was to take back with the e4 with the knight, you still could have played e4, and after takes, make up your mind whether you want to take or play knight g5 and then take back with the knight. And last but not least, if your plan was to take back on e4 with the knight, then shouldn't you have just omitted Rook e1 altogether and play knight g5 and then e4? So it just doesn't add up. Like, we're doing it in the clumsiest possible way. Good? Oh, I see what you mean now. I knew that this was going to happen. Okay, here is something I want you to note. I would have considered he coming home because I can see a very, very sexy exchange sack. So I suspect that your opponent in this case would have gone take, 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 and take. And most players with the white pieces would refuse to play into this because they would not like the look of bishop f5. And I tell you now that I'm not even looking at moving this rook. The only idea why I allowed this to happen is because I am naturally wired toward knight h4. And without calculating this, I'm telling you, it's guaranteed that it's good. Because you are now obtaining your opponent's light squared bishop without you having to give up yours. Which means that our dominance in the light squared color complex is completely dominant and uncontested or uncontestable. g5, knight f5, and look at this invasion with the white pieces. The knight is now absolute dog poo. The king is a fair bit loose, and we are killing it. But this is a fairly complex notion. Most club level players would stop calculating here, thinking the rook has to retreat, and then black is doing fine. But no, friend. It's always sack the exchange. Bang. Always sack the exchange. Jazz, what were you referring to with the all the ongoing recent events? Like, has something happened that I missed, or am I just being ignorant to the world? Oh, nothing. Nothing says this up. All G, brother. Thank you.
Nothing, ha ha ha.
All G. Oh, sheesh. Wait. Okay, so back to the game. So we went knight h3. And here my biggest concern would be b5. So now black is getting all the fun. No, I don't think you were reckless. You were the opposite of being reckless. You were too wreckful. Okay, tuck, knight f4, very good. g5 forced. Ooh. That is a square and a half man to go into. Like, we are definitely not coming out of there. Ay. That's what she said too. Okay. Yep. I didn't even... Well, but wreckful is spelled differently from reckless, yeah? No, I was joking when I said wreckful. Okay, wait, this is garbage, right? I've got two things to tell you here. One, I think we are doing great. Two, I wouldn't have come up with this by myself, but queen h5, bishop f2, king h1, bishop takes is a degree of carnage that begs to be shown on stream. This is freaking hell level. They can't take because of mate, and now, once again, our domination on the king side is just immense. So let's say I play a pass, and you just casually take the rook bishop back. Okay, so how do we win if they just abandon, or rather leave with the hanging bishop? We just take this. Yeah, this is very, 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 very complicated. Like, now the threat is knight h8. No one understands this other than the engine. Like, there are no immediate threats. It's just simply that we have got an overwhelming amount of attackers against an insufficient number of defenders, despite the enormous material surplus. This is where engines shine so beautifully, understanding that dynamism is way more important than material. But this is borderline impossible to find, even on GM level. I just wanted to demonstrate this, that it was on. I would have played bishop e3 100%. Like, not even close. Yeah, look, in a way I like it. In a way I like it. I tell you what my beef is with this move, is that I don't see the benefit of having the extra tempo if we compare this to, let's say, rook b1, bishop buggers off, and then queen h5. And h4 next. And now I feel that the rook has some meaning here, and maybe in some cases we may be able to do a rook lift. I don't know, but I don't think that this is bad. The engine disapproves, but I really like it. I definitely don't consider this reckless. I think this was glorious. Wait, what? Hello, isn't this hanging? Yeah, but see, this is a textbook case of how people completely misread their own games. I really want each and every one of you to observe this. You said that you went reckless. The opposite. You went too timid, brother. You played his safe c4. That's a pathetically defensive-minded move in a position where you needed to go absolute gangbusters on the enemy king. You were not reckless. You were too timid. I wish you were reckless, or had been reckless. 95 and take this. You needed to go pedal to the metal, mate. Yeah, that is like, oh man, c4, come on. Ay. That was not pretty. That was not pretty. Okay, so we went c4, king g7, and now regrets are incoming. Code mode! We have got some games to have a look at after. Okay, knight h4, and after rook f6 we are in a lot of trouble. Yeah. Again, note that your only sensible move here is this. Again, you went too sissy, not too reckless. Dude, you literally have no choice. You have to go all in. Absolutely 100% you go all in. I mean, this shouldn't even be a question, right? Take. And now likely you are hunting for a perpetual check. So for example, let's say they go king h8, and then you go either knight f5 or rook e1. I don't know. Which one is it actually? Actually, screw it. I can just go check, right? I don't even need to do either of those. And check again. And if finally the king goes here, I still have check. So yeah, it turns out that the king has to go to f8, and then maybe backhand in or knight f5. But I'm more of a team knight f5 here. Yeah, and yes, it's bordering the unsound, but black has to now defend like a mama tiger. Knight e8 forced, and now again we have come to a point where good luck making a move for black. We don't have any immediate threats, but maybe this looks quite nasty, yeah? You can just possibly sack an exchange for an attack and then start going backwards, in particular to a square from where you have no legal moves to make. Like, this is literal resignation right here. Like, look at what we're going. They're going backwards on every move. When you actually sack the material for an attack. So, yeah, the rest of the game is total downhill. You needed to have the cojones here, brother, to go like, nah, bang. Take. And just keep on checking until they hide the king on f8 and then knight f5. Rook f5, I believe, is the draw, right? Like, I take king e8, maybe rook e... Actually, I thought that I had perpetual check, but now I'm changing my mind to I'm actually beating you. Like, this is extremely awkward for black because you can't disentangle. Remember, the king can't castle, yeah? So you have to go king d8, and then I start sending it. And you will start sweating here because this pawn is very, very quick. Like, best is maybe here, 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 here. And holy Moses, man, this is rough. Like, you just can't disentangle. It's so annoying. And now the queen can't come out this way because e7 is hanging. You go king d7, I go h7. And now I'm threatening to push and take. Not fun at all for black. Not fun at all. But unfortunately, after knight g2, yeah, this is over. This is over. Yeah, the rest is just agony. The rest is just agony. And the opponent played quite decent chess. Look, Mr. Eigen, in conclusion... Yeah, his name is Jan. That's correct. Thanks, Jazz, for helping me out. I would say that we played a reasonably decent opening. There was a bit of an inconsistency with e4. It needed to go earlier. And... yeah, I think we needed to come back to f3. That exchange sack with knight h4 ideas was absolutely legendary. And here you had a glorious attack, brother. You did nothing reckless. The problem was you were not aggro enough. Like, he not taking h6 and go after that king was criminal activity. That was absolute. I don't even know why you didn't take it. Like, can you tell me what your calculation was? What made you play c4 instead of taking this? Like, give me the line, please. I'm dying to hear what wasn't clear. Because I would tell you how far I would calculate. I would calculate queen takes, knight takes, bishop g5, and I would stop here, and I would be like, they are fucked. Like, I got 47 threats. What king escapes? What, like, see, like, I don't understand that language. What is your move? Make a move. Give me lines. They're not stories. What is the move? You don't mean this, do you? Like, what are you doing, man? Like, how is this a move? Like, even if I play this, white is winning here, right? But I'm not gonna do that, so let's just trap your rook first. Like, what? This is not a movement. Like, you just walked into mate in 2. Like, hello, checkmate. And by the way, I love this notion of, I didn't take this because the king escapes. So, what after c4? Now the king is dead? You see, like, again, the logic is completely back to front in what you're doing. We don't play the most aggressive move on the board on account of the king escapes, and then we play a completely random move on the other side of the board, hoping to hurt the king. What? I don't understand how it makes sense to you. Queen h6, bishop g5 was not good enough to attack the king, but c4, king g7, knight h4 was. Yeah, like, I would love to be in people's brains when they make these decisions. That, yeah, this is not good enough. Like, butt naked king, all white pieces are attacking, and we go like, nah, not good. Let's instead defend this pawn on d5 that has no purpose whatsoever. Now, if afraid is not an excuse here, because afraid of what? I always argue this, that you need to remove the ego from the decision making that you are making on the board, and you can do that. But you are winning a pawn, bro. So, like, what are we talking about? I took a pawn and then I took another. So we didn't lose a pawn. We actually won one. So the move that white played essentially lost the pawn for us. Because we took 2 in my line. But who cares about pawns anyway? It's about the attack. So it's irrelevant. But again, like, you cannot possibly not be objective about these things. No, I refuse to accept that completely. What do you mean that's for a more experienced player? Are you telling me that a 1600 can't make a difference between this, evaluating it as very promising for white, versus this, where we just lost everything? If you tell me that a 1700 can't compare these two positions and make the correct choice between them, I'm gonna push back every day of the week. Every day of the week. How long the white player? About 6'2". I don't understand the question though. I also push back on the I don't understand positional positions, because this is not positional. This is actually the exact opposite of that. This is as tactical as it can get. It is wildly dynamic and attacking. Like, what the frick are you smoking if you call this positional? Hello? No, I'm not being too hard at all. I just only have 10 minutes to send a message, and therefore I want to send a very clean and understandable message. You would like me to be very understanding, which is the role of a parent. I'm not one. I am here to send a very easy to understand and digest message that will help you to get better. If I tell him that yes, C4 was actually quite acceptable, I'm not helping him to become a better player. I need to point out this as clearly as possible, and that's what I do. There's absolutely no crudeness or harshness or being too non-understanding about this. And again, like I am more than happy to go into this as long as I want. That a 1700. Yeah, but he's not a beginner. So, in a way, I would go with my final conclusion, which was that actually the reason why you lost this game was the exact opposite of being too reckless. You were actually too timid. Yeah. All right. Overall, though, I really like the fight. Yeah, he did. And the opponent came in very strong, by the way. So from here on out, Black played a very clean game. Which goes to show, by the way, that this is where things went sideways. Because from here on out, Black didn't drop the ball anymore. Like, they have dropped the ball multiple times until now. But from here on out, they played a very clean game. Alright, on to Code. Code, did you send me a message or where are the games? By the way, Chess.com reshuffled their menu and everything, so I am now struggling to find stuff. Code, did you send me a message or what's... No, you didn't, did you? No, my pleasure, again, any day of the week. No, you didn't send me a message, Code, or I'm smoking something. It's either one or the other. My latest message is from Chess.com. Oh, no. Yeah, the new system is not picking up. I stand corrected. Okay, let's go. So, we are behind the white dudes against Asaf. Okay, let's go. That is freaking picture perfect opening, brother. I don't know who your coach is. This is what chess looks like. Shout out to you. Let's freaking go. Okay, that is a shocker and a half. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I dig that. This is mwah. This is what every 1500 should be looking to play in terms of what good chess looks like. Fabulous stuff. Okay, this is my first beef. Thank you, Cook. I hope that you will return to chess. Okay, chat, what is your gut instinct reaction to h5? I'm very curious what you would say here. h4 as a response to h5. That was a mouse slip on typing h4, right, Jez? Cheers, Cook. So there are two people who are suggesting g5. Can we justify the move g5, please? So Damn Jermaine on YouTube says g5 to lock the knight in. So let's get very quickly just a because chat seems to be pretty slow. Let's have a look-see very, very quickly about what's going on here. So after g5, I cannot poke a stick at a black piece that can move. Paralyzed, paralyzed, can move but no meaningful squares. Knight a6, the only legal move, which is dog shit. Solved. After bishop e2, in very strong contrast, first of all, we observe a very important change in the pawn structure, which is that we isolated our own pawn on e4, which in itself isn't a big problem, but it makes central break significantly harder to carry out. And now the knight is happily developing to f6, hitting both pawns. It's nowhere near as attractive. So as far as I'm concerned, g5 here is a complete no-brainer. Closely followed by take, which by the way triggers rook h, which means that no castling for black this way. The rook is awkward as hell, and our pawns were kept together in the center, which means that a later f4, bishop e2, and then e5 or f5, whichever appropriate, is doable. Like, as far as I'm concerned, bishop e2 shouldn't have been a candidate move, let alone the one that we choose to play. Hello Yabu, welcome in. Okay, let's move on. Bishop e2. I am not a fan. Okay, whatever. Yep. Ooh, hello bishop g5. What? I loved h4. Yeah. Okay, so this is a situation that a lot of people struggle with. I don't know what you're trying to say, Daniel, about that, but I will just move on. Like, yes, you can legally castle there, except your knight is blocking the way, which can't come out here because after the trade, that castling is like dead. So, what? Anyway, so what I wanted to tell you here, buddy, is that this queen sack is actually quite potent and is not easy to defeat. And the reason for that is the following. First of all, our attack, at least for the time being, is now gone. Second, you lost your dark squared bishop. Their dark squared bishop is on the board. And there are a fair few dark squared weaknesses on the board, which is going to make it difficult for you to make a break. If I reverse that coin or flip that coin, you have a light squared bishop that is a bit stuck behind your own pawns. You can go to c4 and find hopefully some damage on f7. So let's see how we played it. But what I'm saying is that this is not as winning as it looks. Like, you really need some fine technique and strong moves to convert this into a win. Yeah, okay. Yes, baby! That was a beautiful tactic, buddy. I'm very proud of you. Well done. Well done. Now we're definitely killing it. That was chef's kiss code. I loved your chess there. I tend to argue that these are better plays than a4, but in this case I'm gonna let that slide. Okay, here I have a question for you folks. We are not going to be able to win this game without finding purpose for our knight. Your task is to find the most aggressive way to introduce the knight into the game. Go. Hello, Ominous Monkey, by the way. This is what I like to, by the way, mention about mindset, that a lot of people would never even consider the correct move here because it's so outside of the realm of what type of moves they look at and what they don't. And Oshki is on the money as usual. E5. No question whatsoever. Like, this is your first and last go-to, because until this is proven wrong, this has to be the best move, because it allows your knight to come in with a tempo and absolutely wreak havoc. And D loses on the spot because of 94. It's over. Thank you, Oshki. Like, we are literally playing with an extra piece compared to any other scenario. Like, bishop goes back, knight check. And now the king is just too exposed. King here, check. And then he, check here, and then check, and we pick off everything. GG. So, this is the point where you need to realize that the queen alone is not going to cut it. You need these two to corroborate. And e5 is the best way to facilitate it. Yeah, piece activity all the way. D5 is black's only legal move here because it cuts out 94. But what this also allows for you is that now we have a passer which can actually quite annoyingly pester the black king too. But here the win is still a little bit complex. Like, I think queen f3 is the move that needs to be played, which is quite surprising, a retreat. But queen g4 check is such a powerful idea. And also this move, by the way, facilitates knight e2, knight d4. Again, introducing the knight into the action. Cool stuff. Okay, so we play queen g7. I mean, e5 is still absolute carnage city. But once again, you have to have that idea to be able to play the move. Okay, little tactic. Loose pieces drop off. Let's go. Did we find it? No, we didn't. White to move and win. Let's go. Loose pieces, Dropskiovsky. Amar Hassan on YouTube is coming in strong. You don't need to protect the c2 pawn because e5 was so terminal that there was no need for that at all. Yeah, queen g1. Once again, a difficult move to spot because it's unusual that a retreat like this would win material, but the double attack is too strong. Too strong. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, this is a tough one to spot for sure. Oh, fuck. Missed this. Ah. That was unlucky, Cody. That was very unlucky because until here this was very well played. Yeah. Yeah, this one was rough, man. This one was rough. This was a very well played game. Don't miss. A couch can't. Okay, I don't know what that means. That's rough, man. Such a pity. Such a pity. This is when you think that chess is a biatch, and to some degree you are right, because you played a really, really good game. And yet here we are. Ooh. Okay. Now we have got some faint hopes. Huh. So now b5 has become vulnerable, right? So we could go after it. And if c4 then king b4, and I don't see how they defend it. Maybe there's rook g5, and then some crazy lines like take, check, take. I don't know, man. This looks like there is a lot going on here. Now we have got 2 connected passes. This looks promising. Yeah, this queen e1 move I'm not a fan of. That looked like a pass, like you didn't know what to do. But it seems to me that you are in severe time trouble, so... yeah, that explains. And then your opponent is forcing you to eat that pawn. Okay. Oh, that's fugly. Yeah, that was the first very ugly move. Because you're not stopping rook b2, you're actually encouraging it. And probably rook c2 as well. I guess queen b1, and then we are still taking this, right? But again, in time trouble, this is a hell of a position to play. Yeah, I mean, you are putting up some very cool resistance, but with that limited time, it's rough, and then ultimately we blundered into that. Unlucky, buddy. Very, very unlucky. The opening was absolutely perfect play by you. I really would have liked to see g5. It's a bit of a move that many people are reluctant to play because then they don't see how they are going to break it open. But the mere fact that your opponent hasn't played a chess move yet, and they are unlikely to do so in the next 10 moves because everybody is stuck, is going to allow you plenty of time to just develop normally and then blast it open with f4 or f4, f5 or e5 or even a piece sack like knight d5. Let me show you something. Like bishop c4, like let's say, I don't even know what they do here. So, like let's say a6, I go here, yeah? Actually, I wanted to come back here. I quite like this idea actually. Trying to provoke them to play this garbage, and the knight d5 wins, bishop d5 wins too. Like this is just unplayable for black because of everybody's at home. So yeah, if b4, then this is where I wanted to go nuts and introduce some Sicilian-like sacrifices. Like take, rook a7, and just bang. Look that this is still gonna be on. Yeah, this was a tough one. Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway from this game is actually the e5 idea here. Like, this is absolutely freaking glorious, man. This is just, mwah, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss stuff. When you have 2 pieces, you need to have both playing. Okay, on to next. Oh, this is against another big fan of the stream, Lasker. Okay, cool. Cool. Let's see. Okay, this is OG. Oh, this is a daily game. Okay. Yeah, he's a tough customer. He regularly sends me games to put them on YouTube. And this is also my recommendation, by the way, from the e4, e5 course. So you played into the e4, e5 course here, Cody. Like, this is my recommended line for black. Except that I believe I recommend he bishop e6. Oh no, I don't. I think he's still on the money. Yeah, knight d8. Yeah, that's it. And then bishop. Yeah, this is still course. Yeah, this is still course. This is still course. The problem with the d5 line, Jazz, is that it's a forced draw. And as such, I don't really like it. Whereas this one actually gives very, very genuine winning chances to you. So I prefer this line. Yeah, there's not a lot of fun to be had here with white. I dislike bishop b4 check, by the way, very strongly. I don't understand why he did that. Like that, why are we developing white pieces? He should just have gone back here. And then knight c6 queenside castle, and then white can't queenside castle either. Yeah, this was weird. I don't understand why he played here bishop b4 check. It's a very odd decision. And now I actually quite like your position. Okay, senor. Give me a set of candidate moves for white here apart from e6. Candidate moves. Chat invited too, please. Let's go. Can you please tell something about your participation in Killer Chess Training? I heard some good things about it. So Killer Chess Training is probably the best, and I'm not saying that I'm part of because I'm part of it, but I consider no, I will rephrase it. It's not the best, although I do think it is, but I don't want to sound self-serving, so I will rephrase it. I think that Killer Chess Training is the most professional online training platform for those who are very serious about chess. So if you really want to improve your chess and you would like to be part of an online club like the Chess Dojo, then I think that Killer Chess Training is the one that is best engineered toward very serious players who would like to make their chess better. There are some very heavily dedicated trainers giving their lectures to fairly high-rated audiences, and like their homework, for example, the Killer Chess Training homework is one of the best out there for calculating exercises. Okay, so candidate moves are coming in as knight e4. I already preferred that to your play d6, so you will need to tell me why you opted for this over this. There is knight g5, which looks like a very, very serious move that hits two pawns at once. I don't understand bishop f5 because king b8 and we just gave a check without too much purpose. But you need to answer my good sir why it's not knight e4, and in particular why it's not knight g5. So, Mr. Code, what's up with these two? Because based on their looks, I prefer both of them to e6. So did we calculate / did we look at either of these moves? Hello Milo, welcome in buddy. Good to have you on board. Because knight g5 is actually winning by force, barring one move. There's one move that saves the day for black against knight g5. And everything else is just done. Yeah. Like knight g5 is screaming since it's a double attack. And f7 is not defensible. Like, period. Because rook d7 loses to bishop f5. Rook f8 just hangs a pawn for free. Rook f8 hangs a pawn for free. With a tempo. So the only move that keeps black in the game... Actually, I'm curious if anyone can spot it. Knight d5? How is that meeting knight f7? That's not gonna cut it, Oshki. I guess you want to go knight c3, but you're definitely losing at the very least a pawn. And a big fat pawn because f7 makes this a passer, yeah? And what does that do, buddy? Like, I don't get this. What if I just take the rook? Yeah, it's not gonna cut it. It's not gonna cut it. The response is tactical, but it's not knight d5. No, rook d7 loses to bishop f5. I already called that. Hot and Mimi. You are coming in hot, but not Mimi. Knight takes e5. Double exclam. The only move that doesn't lose for black. Rook takes and then f6. That being said, after rook e7 fg, both rook takes g7 and knight e4 with the idea of taking it looks very hot for white. I think I would... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would take on knight e4. Because knight e4 take looks also very good. One of these will drop. And now the white pieces are really, really active. Like, this looks very, very good. But my problem, Code, with all respect, is that I don't think you looked at knight g5. Shout out to Hot and Mimi. And Brigitte Need on YouTube. I'm also questioning what purpose e6 served in your head. Like, did you want to go knight g5 here? This one doesn't seem to cut it anymore in my head. Yeah. It seems to me that you developed all your pieces and you got hard stuck on what to do next. And indeed, you say it, not me. This seems very obvious. Okay. I'm not a fan of f6 either, by the way. It seems to me to invite some trouble. Okay, so here is, Cody, where your chess becomes incredibly naive. So let's talk a little bit of common sense in chess. By the way, remember, Cody, how we were talking about books? I would very, 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 very seriously recommend you to obtain a very old book called My System by Nimzovich. I'm gonna type it in the chat. No, Sweet Blues, because you casually blundered the fact that the knight on h7 was attacking the rook on f8. So, for those of you who are familiar with the work of Nimzovich, what is the #1 rule about a passed pawn in any endgame context? What do we need to do about a passed pawn? Well, Jez, you just contradicted your own statement, because blockade. Blockade. So when you ask yourself, what is my opponent's next move gonna be here, while behind the white pieces, you are going to go like, they're gonna play knight e7. That's their next move. So, if you know that knight e7 is your opponent's next move, then one of the worst possible moves we can play is bishop f5. Because what we are doing here is that we are forcing our opponent to play the move that they want to play anyway. Hello? Welcome to One Move YTs, by the way. Let's hope that they suck in e7. Well, that happens on 500 level chess, but not on 1500. So I have no idea, Code, what we were expecting here, buddy. Like, this to me seems like, yeah, let's go cheapy fest. And hope that they suck it in, and if they don't, then I don't know what I'm doing. That's what that move is. The part that really bugs me is that you know all of this, and yet you chose to do it. You knew that it was a one move cheapie that had no additional value. It was easy to meet, and yet we go like, let's go, baby. That's my choice. Why? No, pushing it is very bad because you can't defend it. Like, it's gone. No, like, I don't know why we feel the urge to just, like, you don't need to obsess on it, man. Like, neither does it need to be pushed, nor does it need to be a one-move cheapie. A healthy move here would look like knight h4, so that we can go to knight f5 to start fighting for the blockading square. That's what a healthy chess move looks like. f6 has already destroyed our knight on f3. It has no future whatsoever, so we look to improve it. Let's send it, baby. And now if they play g6, that makes the pawns a little bit tender. Now you send the other knight. Note how I'm not obsessing on the pawn on e6. It's an asset, but it's not enough by itself to do major damage. So you need to eke out other weaknesses in black's camp, or combine the various threats posed by the pawn and your active pieces. We're trying to brute force it, man, like our life depended on it. And that's just gonna fall on its head. So now you have got two miserable pieces. Luckily, one of them is under attack, so we'll have to go back with it. Because, Jazz, the problem is that it comes across like I am good at explaining it. But actually, there's a second layer of truth to it, which I'm a bit reluctant to give away, but I will because I love you all. It's because it's a lot easier than what people make it look. Like, there is this misconception in my head about positional chess being so complicated. No. It's really not that hard. It's just people lack clarity in their thinking, and they tend to prefer to go for something that looks attractive and immediately accessible instead of looking at the mid to longer term prospects. Like bishop f5 looks like, it's amazing, e7, discover check, let's go. And as soon as you see it, it's difficult to let go of that because it's a very attractive tactical idea. But it's so super easy to defend that we need to see beyond that. So the second thing that we need to observe here, by the way, which is very interesting, is that once the blockade has been established, trading pieces favors black. So what black wants to do in this position on a generic broad level is to trade everything except this and this. So if I could help it with black, I would trade the rocks, I would trade knight for knight and bishop for knight. This is the long-term plan. Let me make it different color. So I want to trade this for this, this for this, this for this, this for this. Now the rook trades are easy because they are already set up. But once I get to that endgame, what's going to happen is that I will play c6, king c7, king c d6, and then I reroute the knight to attack the pawn, and white won't be able to defend it. Actually, I could just separate the pawn from the bishop by playing pawn f5. Easy. And then I just come up with the king and eat it. That's the long-term plan for black. And so, for example, to decline the rook trade here and go out of your way to not trade rooks is like, buddy. And now we are inviting this rook to come in here. Ay, 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 ay. Wait, isn't 94 close to game winning here? 94 undermine the blockader. Hitting this, d5 is loose. Almost forced win. Because now after knight f5 you take this knight, maintaining this threat. The knight has to go back, but now the blockader will be undermined. Rook c1, rook e8, and this is when you see why black had the interest of trading rooks. Rook e8, now the two rooks versus the two rooks. White's rooks are absolutely ravaging black's position, whereas both black rooks are pathetically passive and purposeless. Gave you a double exclam because it still wins and it's a sexy move, but it actually drops half of the value of your advantage. By the way, on my analysis board it came up as a miss. That was very neat, Cody. I love this, man. I freaking love that move. Beauty. Like yourself. Note that bishop d7 is not good enough on account of knight e7. Whereas now knight e7 can be met by taking a6 and then picking off the extra piece. Chef's kiss stuff. Love it. How the frick did you not win this, bro? Yeah, good, mate. Good. Just a Twitch chatter. Welcome in. Yeah, this doesn't look intuitive to me at all. I would have gone here. I can't explain why. But relocating on c4 seems logical. After d7, you're gonna get hit ultimately here and here, and you will not have a good square to go back to. Yeah, this was 3 moves wasted. None of these moves did anything for your greater good. So let's see, if bishop e6, rook d6, I go back. Now the rook can't go here because this is hanging. And now I'm ready to relocate the knight, which again is your suckiest piece because the pawn on f6 cancels it out. Not quite sure where we are going, but maybe king c3, knight d4. Well, come in, Mr. Sushi Best. But yeah, this was lackluster. Now h5 is a bit of a help chess because now we have bishop e8, right? I don't mind h4. It's very logical to fix the pawns on the color of the bishop. I dig it. Okay, now your opponent is forcing you to play the correct bishop e8, fixing the entire pawn chain on white. And now your next job is gonna be to somehow relocate this knight from here to here. e5 is also good though. So what I would do here is I would come back home to deny the check, then find a square for the bishop, and then go in for the kill with the knight. Just keep it simple. Okay, when your opponent plays this, Cody, what is their next move? Black to move, what's the threat? Okay, the threat is push, and if we move the knight, so let's say I play random bullshit, g4, I move the knight, and we die to the check. So, let me ask you this question. What is your concern? Is your concern this or this? Which one do we want to stop? Right. What moves stops this? What moves stop that, sorry? There's literally one legal move that eliminates rook d2. Thank you. So my only question to you now is, what prevented you in the game to apply the same logic? Because after rook e2, now this pawn is hanging. And both g4 and gh4 will mess up the black structure. So black basically committed positional suicide because now after g4, we are going to be able to land this knight on f4, our dream destination. Yeah, the problem, Cody, is that you're saying, I didn't want to give up the rook from attack. What attack? Your rook is attacking nothing. Currently, what's attacking is your knight. Except it can't because it needs to shield d2. Yeah, that's not gonna happen, man. Like, let's have a look at the game. Who is attacking now? And what pawns do you want to get behind? Like, look at your rationalization and look at the moves you are playing. You say you don't want to come back because you want to get behind the pawns. And then you do this. Take, 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 check, in. What pawns do you want to get behind, brother? Even if you could. That one there, to what end? The whole king side is gone. It doesn't make any sense. This was the worst possible outcome because your only win condition in this game with white is to win a pawn on the king side. and preferably avoid trading pawns. And instead, what we are doing is that our rook is doing spectacular nothing, which was your thesis of why you did this, and we traded off all pawns on the king side, barring one. Actually, after rook g8, the pawn is gone. So I really want you to reflect on this, Cody. You played a move with an idea that was physically impossible to occur. Like, you're keeping a rook on the board to attack pawns that are vanishing from the board. Like, it's almost a paradox of what you are doing and what you're saying. It's like you're saying that you want to cut your legs off so you can run faster. It's like, hello? That's not going to work. I really want you to observe the power behind this very shy retreating move. They can't keep the pawns together, man. They go here, Cody is going to go here, and your long-term plan is very simple and very beautiful. First of all, you have this already on the menu. Note how all pawns stayed on the board. And you're just going to go g3, knight g2, knight f4, bishop f7. This is falling. This is going to fall. This goes in. So freaking clean. All you need to do is to practice a little bit of patience and allow your pieces to obtain optimal squares, and more importantly, keep your opponent's pieces at bay. Because black doesn't have a plan right now other than just freaking go for broke and penetrate on d2. That's their only plan. That's it, man. If they get to do that, you can kiss goodbye to any winning plans. If we can keep these two rooks at bay, we are playing for two results. We are either winning, or maybe they can scrape somehow through a draw, but unlikely. Well, see, the funny thing is that when you talk about passivity, you need to be able to see this for both sides, right? Because this is a passive move. It deactivates the white rook. That is correct. You scored a point. But this also happens to cancel out both of the black rooks. I get 2 points. So if you look at it as a retreating passive move and you don't look at its impact on the enemy camp, you are right. It's a passive move. Why would we do that? If you look at what it actually accomplishes, you realize that it entirely cancels out the entire black army. There are 2 rooks on the board that can do now absolute nothing. No hope, no plan, no targets. See ya. That's it. Instead, we played a supposedly active move, and now the black rooks are absolutely rampant and wild. And you can forget about it, man. I'm not even sure if we are not worse here. Like, I would pick black from here on out. So there is for activity, right? It looks very different in an endgame, sorry, in an opening or middle game context, because there are a lot more pieces to take into consideration. But here you just look at these 2 bozos and you go like, well, these boys are not exactly having the time of their life, do they? Or are they? Yeah, this is definitely gonna be in the course. I'm going to save this game now. Brilliant comment material there. Yeah, I mean, it's like, man, you're happy to save this. In fact, I'm very impressed that you didn't lose it. That was a very lucky blunder. I think black is on the verge of winning here. Mind you, it's not so easy to break it because you can pass here and here with the king, and black is hard pressed here to make progress. So maybe we are still sitting on the verge of draw. Yeah, this, my friend, had to be king a3 any day of the week. in my book to stop b4, but whatever. It doesn't matter what you do, it's gonna be a draw. Like, even if you just pass here for the rest of the game, to and fro, to and fro, to and fro, there is no progress to be made for black. As long as you don't allow the king into c4, that is, c3 that is, but that's impossible to accomplish. Yeah. Very well fought game. Very well fought game. I really liked it. I also like the fact that you found Yan on my stream, Mr. Lasker, and now you two are battling it out. I love that community building aspect of this game too. So shout out to all of you folks. Yeah. This was good shit, guys. I really liked it. I hate to tell you this, but we have to cut the stream short today because I have got various agendas to attend to. But boy, was this a really good one. I really enjoyed this. I found that this was very, very instructive. Right on, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. I have been kept very busy with live affairs, so I couldn't stream as much as I would have liked to. But hope to be back next week with a bit more regular streaming. Yeah, thanks for everyone to attend. Also on YouTube, I tend to be ignoring the YouTube chat. Not so much out of choice, but just simply forget to look at it. Apologies. I hope you guys had a good time there too. I'm going to raid you off now to Hannah, and I look forward to seeing you again in the near future. Take care, lovely humans. Love you all. Bye.